Hawaiian Islands to Orient, contact clearance level 126.5.
And Chalk 6 is taking fire. Okay, divert south of the river. I see you come to the break guys. I just called over. Yes, damn well.
Since the dawn of the first age, by the elders it was foretold, a mighty cure that would rise when needed most. Their words would inspire enlightenment among the common. As it was prophesied, it has come to pass. Everybody has a podcast.
So while we're on the topic of fast food, I had something happen to me actually today, and Clark and I were together, and
as usual.
Yeah, basically, we went to the gym, and then we're hitting Subway on the way home, and we walk into the Subway. It's a nice Subway in a nice area of town. It's not one that I frequent, but we step in, and the sandwich artist, comes stumbling over, hates his life, just lifeless, Jared would be pissed if he walked into the Subway. But he walks over and he just starts staring at me, right? And I come to that weird realization to where, holy shit, I know him from somewhere. You know how that happens, Ryan? That probably happens to you, right?
Yeah, and then you're like, Dad, is that you?
No, but he's staring at me, right? And it's like awkward silence. So I'm like, obviously non-verbally, I realize that we know each other. But it's so awkward that I make the first comment. I'm like, "Hey, buddy, how's it going?" Because I don't know what else to do, right?
Yeah.
Then he's like, he was like, "Hey, I thought that was you." Blah blah blah. And he was like, "Yeah, do you remember my name?"
Oh, what an asshole for asking that, dude. Seriously.
Well, and number one,
That's
he's
such
not
a
in
bitch
uniform,
thing,
right? Because the proper uniform for Subway, if you look in the manual at page 42, is to have a name tag on. With your visor and your plastic gloves.
Yeah,
right?
He was clearly waiting for Billy. He set a trap.
No, he did. He
it
snared
fucking
me.
fell in someone's sandwich. Like the guy in front of you has a name tag in his sandwich, man.
So I'm like, Alex?
Oh, no, you said it way more confident than that. You're like, oh, hey, what's going on, Alex?
Yeah, and he's like, no.
Oh, my God.
Will. Yeah. So at this point, I'm like, okay, hey, Will, and I try to say something like marginally funny to break the awkwardness. I'm like, hey, that's kind of my name too, blah, blah, blah. And it turns out that this guy used to work for me long time ago.
So he's gone up. He's going places.
Well, and I can see it in his face. Like, he's just total... Like, he's so ashamed of himself that his former bosses sees him working at Subway, right? So he starts into this monologue about what happened since the last time I saw him to that day that brought him to Subway. I'm not exaggerating either, right? Clark was in the process of ordering his sandwich, and you know how it goes down the assembly line? Well, the other guy that was helping make the sandwich got so fed up with it, he went into the back. I mean, the other sandwich artist, his teammate, his partner, walked around the back and just left him, right? So this guy's like talking to me, right? And he's talking to me about he has a heart problem and he lost all of his friends and he's trying to finish school and he works nothing but shit jobs.
Let me stop. You would be shocked at if you didn't hear all that and you were a mute and you were just looking at me the entire time. You would think I was super confused by all the ingredients at Subway because I was just staring through the glass at the stuff, just waiting for it to be over.
Yeah, I mean, it was as awkward for Clark as it was for me because Clark's in the process of ordering a sandwich. He's already ordered the bread, the kind of bread it's on. We've already had a quick conversation about cheese. He went on this long monologue about how the American cheese is yellow and it should be or white and it should be an American color.
Isn't it weird that we do that like that?
Yeah, and the whole time he's flapping the little cheese triangle in the air. I don't know. It's really, really, really odd. So it took Clark. How long would you say it took for your sandwich to be made?
About 200 hours.
Well, it was 20 minutes though. It was literally 20 minutes.
Yeah, it was.
Thank God there was nobody else in line. So
it gets worse.
Yeah, it gets absolutely way worse if it possibly could get worse. So the whole time, right? He's not making Clark's sandwich, and he's just staring at me, right?
And talking a mile a minute,
right, about his life story, and I'm doing what I always do. I'm just like, whoa, no way, yeah, and I'm trying to I have this weird balance to where obviously the guy hates where he's at in life. He verbalized that to us on a number of occasions.
For sure.
In front of basically, I think his supervisor walked around the corner and he asked me for a job. He was like, "Where do you work now?" "Hey, are you guys hiring?" Like he literally asked me for a job in front of his boss. Yeah, and his boss just kind of looked at us, and then he disappeared, of course, because there were customers there. He didn't want to be around that.
Yeah.
But so the whole time he's talking about this. So finally, I'm just like, yeah, dude, hey, we'll trade information, and I'll give you a reference one day because he's trying to go to school for business, and I'm trying to throw him a bone because honestly, I felt bad for the kid, right? Oh, I don't know, he's not a kid, he's probably 25.
Yeah, he's just a loser. Don't call him a kid because he's a loser.
And the funny thing is, when he worked for me, I was a total douchebag manager to him. Like he was not a productive employee. Like I was his last day.
Wait,
like,
so you're telling me the guy that stands in line for 20 minutes and doesn't fix your sandwich is not a productive employee?
yeah, basically, right? I should have known better.
Good thing he's changed.
So I tell him, right? I'm like, hey, yeah, just give me information, and I'll give you a reference someday. And I tell people that sometimes because I give references for former employees of mine, and try to help everyone out when I can because everyone needs that from whenever. But so he proceeds to start making Clark's sandwich, and now we're like 10 minutes in at this point, right? And Clark's sandwich only has cheese on it, right? We hadn't even got to the meat part where he's putting the meat on yet. So then he shifts from that to like. So hey, we should hang out sometime.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So I went from like, yeah, hey dude, I'll give you my information. You can use me as a reference. To now we're gonna be friends.
Yeah, Bill was definitely going into like hot girl at the bar mode. He was like trying to figure out ways to get out of this.
Yeah, and I'm out of practice, right? Like I'm married. I'm out of practice. I'm not used to the hand grenade girl coming over to me and me having to get rid of her.
Yeah.
So I was completely, without my arms. I did not know what to do. So it comes down to this, and he's, so I pull out Will, I'm married now, so I don't really go out much anymore. Which is a total bullshit lie. Total bullshit lie, right? And he's like, oh, yeah, I never thought about that. So, like, my mental image of him, Ryan, is basically, how in the cartoons you have, like, the cloud pop up outside the guy's head and you can see what he's thinking?
Yeah.
I imagine him thinking about me and him riding on, like, a tandem bicycle. And like with some like real cheesy song playing, like we're best friends, best friends. I mean, it was just terrible. So then, right in the middle of it all, he's like, "No, man, I'm gonna give y'all free drinks."
Yeah, since it took so long, we're gonna give you guys free drinks.
And his supervisor standing right there, and he like looks over to his supervisor and is like, "Man, don't worry about it. Don't sweat it. Take out of my check. I don't give a shit."
Oh,
I mean,
God.
like he's like I don't know what got into this dude. Right?
I don't know, but the worst part for me was whenever he was like, he was talking about all these girlfriends he had, right? And he's like, "No, I don't want to brag or nothing, but like the girlfriends I've had, I've been pretty hot." I was like, oh.
Yeah, I forgot about the part where he went through his last relationship and how he had to break up with her because she worked at a hotel as a manager. And
she was a workaholic
come home and treat him like shit.
Well, dude, she was holding him back, like professionally and socially.
Who the hell talks to somebody they're making a sandwich for, to some random boss they used to have that was a massive dick to them when they worked there because they were a bad employee? Who tells their life story like that? I don't understand. So.
Can't be taken back.